I'm adopted, so I didn't know
Yep.
anything about my family, and to find out that I'm a, it's between the three, Irish and Scottish and English, and it's pretty great to know that there's part of me walking around there somewhere.
Yeah, yes, a little bit of Jeff, exactly. And but the thing with your act though, I guess you must get the same reaction to your characters wherever you are. As soon as you bring out Walter, dead terrorists, the people just go nuts, right?
Yeah, and I think that's one reason that my 15 minutes of fame has lasted a lot longer. And I think it's because there's a little something there for everybody. And unlike a straight stand-up who is basically that guy on stage, I get to go to a different guy and it's a different point of view, it's a different sense of humor, and I can point and counterpoint and argue, and you have all the good makings of comedy. You've got conflict and so yeah, so you're right. When I pull out a dummy, it's a whole different set of rules for whatever comedy I'm doing.
What I love about I think you said before with the dummies, it really is, Jeff, the nice guy, but the dummy can be outrageous.
Sure. And again, I can and in this terribly judgmental political climate, no matter what side you're on, I can point and counterpoint and argue the other side of things, and then
Right.
people walk out of the show not really knowing where I stand, but hopefully I've had a good discussion with the dummy.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. You've got to. It's hard not to alienate either half because everything's so divisive now, right? But I was going to ask you. Surely Trump's done you a favor, done you a favor with taking out the Ayatollah. I thought this guy's just trying to promote your tour.
Yeah, that's right. It is. And tonight, I just walked off stage about 30 minutes ago here in California, and tonight, for the first time in a long time, I started my show with Ahmed, the dead terrorist, and you know, um, uh, it's just really interesting with the world being so small now, with our personal devices, and news travels around the world in seconds. So there's a lot of things to joke about, and everybody can know everything at the same time, and so it makes either comedy. You can look at it two ways. You can make comedy either really difficult
Yeah.
or really easy.
Yeah.
So for me, it makes it easy because, like I said, I don't have to take a stand on anything. I can
No, no.
the dummy can say all the stuff that I
He,
shouldn't.
he can take the flak.
That's right.
Jeff, did Ahmed have any jokes about the Ayatollah? Was there any opening lines?
You know, I try and keep my act evergreen, and I'm working on my next special,
Right.
and it's it's also interesting. Here's another thing. It's interesting that X number of people or a certain percentage of the crowd, when you bring up a current topic, has no idea what you're talking about.
Ah, okay, okay, right, right, yep,
Because there are so many people that either just by their lifestyle or on
yep,
purpose don't pay attention.
right.
And it's so funny. The subject matter has to be very big and very general for those jokes to actually work.
I see.
Otherwise, there are other comedians that are very specific and very political and talk
Yep,
about everything that happened in the news that day.
yep,
And if you weren't paying attention, you had no idea. We had Johnny Carson, and unlike a lot of the late night comedians now, you could literally turn him on, and that would be a lot of people's news for the day. Because
wow. At the end of the day,
whatever
yeah,
he joked about, that's
yes.
what was going on in the headlines that day.
Wow, that's amazing. Never thought of it like that. Of course,
Yeah.
yeah, no, incredible. Jeff, there's a couple of cameos I love you in. One is 30 Rock. I'm a big 30 Rock fan, and that whole sequence. I just watched it again this morning actually just to refresh my memory. That whole sequence is absolutely hilarious. Where you eventually get attacked by Alec Baldwin.
Well, you know what was great about that is I knew very little about Alec Baldwin, and my that was a few years ago, good number of years ago. But my
Yep.
best memory of that was he and I standing on, because you wait forever between takes, and he and I bonded over talking about crazy ex-wives.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I didn't know if I was going to get along with the guy or not, but we had a lot of battle wounds to share with each other.
And Tina Fey, what was it like working with her?
I didn't have much interaction with her
Ah,
at all.
yeah.
Yeah. So, but with him, it was and all the crazy stuff that's happened to him since. It's so funny because there's so many celebrities like that that get themselves into trouble, and then they may act and react without a lot of wisdom, and then they get painted even worse. And Roseanne Barr was one of those people that
Yeah.
I met her very early on when she was first coming up, and I was at a comedy club trying out for the Tonight Show for Carson, and
Yep.
she could not have been more kind. She was
Mm.
the sweetest woman on the planet, could not have been nicer to me. And she was already getting to be a big star, and she could have been very, very dismissive and very, not nice to me.
Yep.
But it's so funny how the public perception changes on stars with just the dumbest, these you say the
Yep.
most innocent
With
thing,
with a late
or
night
just
tweet, with a late night tweet, it's dangerous.
and it can ruin the career.
Yeah,
It would be over with,
exactly.
like that.
Exactly, exactly. The other one I love, Jeff, is your appearance on Hell's Kitchen and your food order sent Gordon Ramsay into meltdown. Not inadvertently, but you still it was your order that had him melting down. I love that.
You know what's funny is I've never seen the episode.
Ah,
I try and watch everything that I've done. Just I like to do it so I can critique myself. So if I've done something I don't like, I won't do it again, or I can do it
mm.
better. I never could find. Can you find that episode online
Yeah,
somewhere?
yeah. Just put you in on YouTube, Jeff Dunham and Hell's Kitchen. It comes up. Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
that's hilarious. I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Oh
I
no,
found it for you.
I don't know if I want to or not. I do remember him getting really angry in the kitchen. So
Yeah.
that was about our
That
order.
was your order. Yeah, I think your steak, whatever you'd ordered. No, chicken. It was chicken. It was undercooked chicken. And he blows his top because they didn't prepare your meal correctly.
Oh, it wasn't me being a bad patron. It was
No,
because
no,
his
no,
sous
no.
chef didn't check
Yeah,
it. Oh,
they screwed it up.
I remember he threw things. That
Yeah.
was a good number of feet away. We're sitting outside the kitchen. We see him getting very angry, and I'm like, "What's happening in there?" Oh no,
So
that's really funny.
you've seen the Gordon Ramsay full on meltdown in the flesh. Yeah. What was
Right.
that? What was the whole thing like? I know you haven't watched it, but what was the whole experience like? Because it must seem quite strange. You turning up for a meal. You had Walter with you, your wife, I think. Yeah.
Well, yeah, Audrey was there. The most embarrassing part of it was I had never seen the show before. I had no idea how the show worked. I didn't know who Gordon Ramsay was. And now, and since then, my wife, we had our own food show for a little while, and so I learned a whole lot about the food world and learned a lot more. But back then, I knew next to nothing. So
Yeah.
I didn't. I had to ask somebody. I go, is that him? Is that? So yeah, I now as a big shot, I get a lot of respect there. He's done a lot of things, and his career's been long and
Well,
great.
he's originally from Scotland as well. He's actually born in Scotland. Yeah. So
Is that right?
yeah, he's a Scot. Yeah, he's claimed he's one of ours. He's been born here, so he's definitely one of ours.
Well, I will give him kudos for this. Every time I play Planet Hollywood in Las Vegas, it's a casino that I play about once a month. There's his burger places in there, and so I order a burger from Gordon Ramsay's place every time I'm
Ah,
there.
is it good? Is it good? It must be good.
Oh, it's fantastic! Yeah,
Yeah.
it's always great.
Yeah, fantastic. And Jeff, the fact that you're, reading about your career, you really worked at it, and that's what I love. It's like all those years plugging away, and everything. And it's such like you're a kind of classic variety act, which Britain was full of variety acts, but that was it. You had to work the clubs years and years and years and years, right?
Yeah, it was 19 years of doing the comedy clubs and doing great clubs and horrible clubs. And, I would, people say, would you want to go back and do it again? Nope.
No, no, I
But then
prefer.
also somebody asked me a question in an interview the other day. They said, if you could go back and tell your 16-year-old self
Yeah.
something, what would you tell yourself to change or do differently? And I didn't have to think about it for a second. I said absolutely nothing.
Nah, you've got to learn, yeah.
Because yeah, because of all the, I've been lucky that, nothing really horrible. A
Mm,
handful of bad, sad things happen, but nothing, no disabilities, nothing like that.
yeah,
So I've been very lucky and very blessed. But those tough lessons along the way, the terrible shows, the horrible decisions, those are all the ones you learn from. You're not
yeah,
gonna, you're not gonna get the beautiful tree in the forest that ever never was hit by wind or never had a broken branch. The most interesting and beautiful ones are the ones that have twisted and
mm,
had trouble growing up. Those are the ones that you want to look at and want to climb. And
yeah.
so that's the way I look at it. When life gives you those, those bumps and bruises, you learn from them.
You must have had some, you're saying the horrible clubs. It must have been, you must have felt lonely. So I know you had your dummy with you, but when you must have got heckled taking that dummy out in one of the dummies, and
Well, I'll tell you the worst ones. They're always that coming up. Now I have it kind of easy because you're pre-sold and it's so much easier and so much more fun
yes,
now because people are buying tickets for you and not the comedy club. In the old
yep,
days, they're paying tickets for the comedy club. You walk on stage and people are sitting there going, "Okay, we just paid a lot of money, make us laugh."
yeah, yeah.
And so that's the tough. But I got to tell you, the worst ones though, the worst shows, and I don't even want to do them now, are the corporate shows. And that's where you're
Ah,
hired by X company. They got all their salespeople from all over the country. They've flown them in. They've been playing golf all day long. They've been drinking. They've had a big dinner. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the puppet show. So those are the worst, absolute worst. And I've had, I've been talked into doing corporate dates a couple of times in the last 10 years, and I'm actually delighted because I have that kind of fame where I can still go to Disney World and Disneyland, and a few
yeah,
people will come up to me and say hi, but it's
yeah.
not like,
Well,
Tom Cruise where he can't go anywhere.
exactly. Because also you're instantly recognizable when you have your one of your co-stars with you, right?
Sure, yeah,
Right.
but
But
it's
when you
still
don't,
enough fame. It's still
okay,
enough fame to feed my ego and make me
yeah,
happy that they want the picture, they want the autograph,
yeah.
and the guides will always say, "Do you want us to keep people away?" I'm like, "No. What's the purpose of being in show business if you're going to push them away?"
Nice, yeah.
So it is a great kind of fame right now, and yeah. So
Jeff, just to wrap up, what is the one thing that you love doing whenever you come to Scotland? Is there a particular thing that you like to do?
Honestly, I like it. There's two things. One is, and I love to go in someplace in a pub or a bar or whatever you want to
Yep.
call it, where there's a couple of drunk Scotsmen, and there's nothing that makes me laugh, or it's to hear a thick Scottish accent come out of a drunk guy. It's like I have no idea what they're saying, but I'm trying really hard. So that, and honestly, I'm sorry. What's the river that goes right through the middle of town
Clyde,
in?
the Clyde.
I loved just walking there and
Ah,
just thinking about all the. I love history. I love looking at buildings, and thank goodness if we only had a device where we could point it at something and
mm,
have it tell us what that is.
mm,
And so I love pulling out my phone and just taking pictures of buildings and just getting the history and that. And
yeah.
out in California where I live, it's like, look at that building. It's 40 years old. It's ancient.
I used to love that. I mean, I think my first time in America, that was the kind of part of it. Oh, that's 40 years old. Oh no, it was something that was 100 years old, and it was like it was revered. And I'm like, the house I grew up in was older than 100 years.
That's
It's
right.
nothing.
I got floorboards that are older
Yeah,
than that.
exactly. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Jeff, listen, fantastic. I hope you have a great time when you're here, and really nice to
Thank you,
touch
Matt.
base with
And
you.
by the way, I got to tell you, on Apple TV, when
Yeah,
it goes to the screensaver,
yep.
I'm not just saying this. Some of my favorite ones are that go to the coastlines of Scotland
Ah,
and show
yeah,
the beauty there.
yeah,
Unbelievably amazing. So I can't wait to come visit. Oh, and by the way, there's
yeah.
three things that I wish were real. One is aliens, one
Mm.
is Bigfoot, and the other's the Loch Ness monster.
I know you just wish it was,
Yeah,
but you never know. You never know.
never know.
Excellent, Jeff. Listen, have a great time. Thanks very much for your time after your show tonight.
Thanks for getting up early.
All the
All right.
best.
See you
Cheers.
there.
Bye.